Welcome to Tales with Meaning. Tonight, we have a story that delves into the power of perspective. We meet a man named Michael, a once successful architect whose life took a sudden and unexpected turn. One cold, grey evening, he found himself at the edge of despair, questioning the purpose of everything he had once cherished. But as he wandered through the shadows of doubt, an unexpected encounter revealed a truth that transformed his outlook forever. Stay with us as we explore how a grateful heart sees beauty in everything, even in the most unlikely of places. What could have possibly changed Michael's world so completely? Let's find out. Michael Carter had it all, at least. That's what everyone said. He lived in a beautiful house with a panoramic view of the city, drove a luxury car, and was married to his college sweetheart, Emily. As one of the top architects in the city, his career was soaring. But one late autumn evening, as he gazed out over the glittering skyline, he felt an emptiness he couldn't explain. A gnawing sense of dissatisfaction had been growing inside him for months, and now it seemed to overwhelm everything else. It started with small things. The joy he once felt in designing structures began to fade. The admiration of his colleagues no longer held the same thrill. Even the beautiful home he had meticulously designed felt cold and distant. He kept telling himself that it was just a phase, but deep down, he knew it was more than that. Something fundamental was missing, and he didn't know what it was. One evening, after another long day at work, Michael received a call from his mother. She sounded worried. "Michael, your Uncle Greg is not doing well. The doctors say it might be time. You should come visit him." Uncle Greg was a man who lived simply, never having achieved much by society's standards. He had been a carpenter, living in a small, modest house on the outskirts of the city. Despite this, Michael remembered him as someone who always had a warm smile and a kind word. Michael hadn't seen Uncle Greg in years. Work, travel, and life had gotten in the way. But something inside urged him to make the drive. The next morning, he packed a small bag and headed out of the city, leaving behind the towering skyscrapers and bustling streets for the quiet countryside. When Michael arrived, he found his uncle's house just as he remembered, small, with a white picket fence and a yard full of flowers. The house seemed to glow with a warmth that contrasted sharply with the cold, concrete world Michael had grown used to. Uncle Greg was sitting on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, his once strong frame now frail, but his eyes still sparkled with life. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. Uncle Greg shared stories from his youth, tales of simple joys, of working with his hands, and of the satisfaction he found in creating things that lasted. As the conversation waned, Michael noticed something remarkable. Uncle Greg never once complained about his life. He didn't talk about the things he didn't have or the opportunities he missed. Instead, he spoke of the beauty in small moments, the warmth of the sun on his face, the smell of fresh cut wood, the laughter of children playing down the street. Instead, he spoke of the beauty in small moments, the warmth of the sun on his face, the smell of fresh cut wood, the laughter of children playing down the street. Michael didn't say much as he drove back to the city the next day. His uncle's words kept playing in his mind, like a melody that wouldn't fade. When he returned to his office, he looked around at the projects on his desk, the grand buildings, the ambitious designs, all meant to impress, but none of them filled the void inside him. That weekend, Michael returned to the park near his home, a place he had once visited regularly, but had long since forgotten. As he walked along the winding paths, he noticed things he hadn't before: the vibrant colors of the leaves, the laughter of children, the way the light danced on the surface of a small pond. He felt a strange sense of peace, something he hadn't felt in a long time. Over the next few months, Michael's life began to change. He still worked hard, but his focus shifted. He started to find joy in the small things, sharing a quiet meal with Emily, taking time to listen to a colleague, or simply sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. His designs changed too. They became more about creating spaces where people could connect with each other and with nature, rather than just towering monuments to modernity. One day, as he was finishing a new project, a small community center with open spaces and lots of natural light, Michael thought about Uncle Greg. He realized that his uncle had lived a life filled with beauty because he had chosen to see it, even in the simplest of things. And now, Michael understood that he could do the same. His success didn't lie in the size of the buildings he created, but in the joy and connection they brought to others. The last time Michael visited Uncle Greg, the old man was weaker, but still smiling. They sat together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, turning the sky a soft shade of pink. Michael didn't need to say anything. Uncle Greg just nodded, as if he knew what Michael had come to realize, that a grateful heart truly does see beauty in everything. The last time Michael visited Uncle Greg, the old man was weaker, but still smiling. They sat together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, turning the sky a soft shade of pink. Michael didn't need to say anything. Uncle Greg just nodded, as if he knew what Michael had come to realize, that a grateful heart truly does see beauty in everything. A grateful heart opens our eyes to the beauty that exists everywhere, from the grand to the simple. We hope this story inspires you to look for the good in your own life, no matter where you are or what challenges you face. Remember, it's all about perspective. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Tales with Meaning.